Welcome to part 2. If the first part felt honest and harsh, now we're going even deeper. You're about to see what lies beneath the surface, the mechanisms of power, respect, and control that most men never even realize exist. There is a harsh truth most men never learn. People do not respond to who you are inside. They respond to how you appear. Your inner world, your intentions, your integrity, your kindness, none of it is visible unless your image communicates it. People only see your posture, your tone, your reactions, your level of self-respect, your boundaries, your calmness, your presence. Image is not a mask. It is a tool, a weapon, a form of social currency. You can be smart, loyal, patient, sincere. But if your image signals weakness, people will treat you as weak. Because the world does not interpret intentions. The world interprets signals. A man who explains too much signals insecurity. A man who talks too fast signals anxiety. A man who avoids conflict signals vulnerability. A man who is always available signals low value. But a man who speaks calmly and briefly signals power. A man who doesn't justify himself signals confidence. A man who holds silence signals authority. A man who sets boundaries without emotion signals dominance. People naturally gravitate toward men who radiate stability and self-possession. This has nothing to do with looks or wealth. It's about behavior, composure, and controlled presence. Your image is built from small things. You may not notice it, but people read you instantly. How you walk into a room, how you carry your shoulders, how you handle interruptions, how you listen, how quickly you respond, whether people talk over you, how you stand still, how you keep eye contact. These micro behaviors create an entire narrative in people's minds. This is the language of power. And if you don't control it consciously, others will read it unconsciously. Stop explaining yourself. One of the strongest signals of weakness is over-explaining. Nice guys do it automatically. I only said that because I just wanted to help. Sorry if it sounded wrong. I didn't mean it like that. Every explanation reduces your authority. It tells people, I need your approval. I'm afraid of being misunderstood. I'm not confident in my own decisions. Strong men use fewer words. They state their position. They do not justify it, because their tone, posture, and consistency are the justification. Master the power of silence. Silence is a dominant signal. A man who can pause before answering looks composed and grounded. A man who instantly fills every moment with words looks nervous and insecure. When you don't rush to speak, people listen more carefully. Your words gain weight because they are not cheap. Silence makes others reveal more, apologize more, explain more, fill the space you leave intentionally. Silence is a tactic used only by those who are not afraid. Speak less, demonstrate more. Strong men don't announce their standards. They live by them. Strong men don't demand respect. They behave in a way that makes disrespect impossible. Strong men don't say, I won't tolerate that. They simply don't tolerate it. Your actions are the foundation of your image. If someone tries to manipulate you into explaining, debating, or proving your point, don't fall into the trap. Your image grows stronger when you say less and enforce more. Distance builds respect. People value what is not always available. When you are too accessible, your presence loses value. A strong man protects his time, his attention, his emotional energy. He does not answer instantly. He does not participate in every conversation. He does not share everything he feels. He does not drop everything for anyone. Distance is not coldness. It is boundaries. It is filtering out the unworthy. It is preserving your power. People rise to the level of access you give them. If access is free, it means nothing. If access is earned, it becomes valuable. Consistency creates respect. Your image is not built by grand gestures, but by repeated consistency. You can set a boundary once and destroy it by breaking it the next time. You can say you value your time and then let someone waste it. You can say you're calm and then explode emotionally. People are always watching. They are always evaluating. And they respect only the men who behave the same way they speak. A man who breaks his own boundaries loses credibility. A man who lives by them gains authority even from the people who dislike him. Because strength is not a mood. Strength is a principle. There is a critical difference between being useful and being harmless. One earns respect, the other invites exploitation, and almost every nice guy makes the same mistake. He becomes so helpful, so available, so accommodating that people stop seeing him as a man and start seeing him as a tool, a convenient resource, a backup plan, a problem solver, someone who will always say yes. But here is the truth. Useful men are respected. Harmless men are used. If you want respect, real, lasting respect, you must become a man who contributes value, but also a man who defends himself. Most men fail because they only focus on value, not on protection. They become helpful to the point of self-sacrifice, yet they never set limits, never ask for accountability, never refuse unreasonable demands. And eventually, people stop treating them as individuals. They become a function, something that exists to serve others. A useful man brings value by choice. A useful man solves problems. He delivers results. He improves whatever he touches. He contributes with intelligence, effort, skill, and intention. But he helps because he chooses to, not because he's afraid to say no. He doesn't work for approval. He doesn't sacrifice for validation. He doesn't give more than he can afford. His contribution comes from strength, not insecurity. And because his value is conscious and controlled, people respect him for it. A harmless man has no boundaries. A harmless man tries not to offend anyone. He tries not to disappoint anyone. He avoids saying no, avoids conflict, and avoids standing up for himself. He thinks this makes him a good person. But harmlessness is not goodness. It's fear. Harmless men believe that patience and self-sacrifice will earn them appreciation. But in reality, it sends a different message. You can overstep. You can burden me. You can disrespect my time, energy, and effort. I won't stop you. People don't respect that. People exploit it. Because if you don't protect yourself, the world sees you as someone who doesn't deserve protection. People always test limits. Even good people test boundaries, not out of malice, but because human nature is opportunistic. If you let someone shift responsibility onto you, they will. If you let someone ask for more than they give, they will. If you let someone disrespect your time, they will do it again. Everyone tests limits. Everyone expands into available space. That's why harmlessness is dangerous. It gives people unlimited space to cross your line. A useful man is respected because his help is earned, not assumed. A harmless man is ignored because his help is automatic, not valued. Learn to say no without guilt. Saying no is one of the strongest forms of self-respect. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I'm not available. No, I'm not taking responsibility for that. No, that's not my problem. Each no reinforces your value. A man who can say no becomes someone people treat carefully. They think before asking. They choose their words more wisely. They respect the limits. A man who cannot say no becomes everyone's backup plan. And backup plans aren't respected. A useful man has a cold edge. He can help, but he also knows how to step back. He can support, but he won't let you take advantage. He can give, but he won't tolerate disrespect. His kindness is not a default state. It is a reward for those who value it. If someone crosses him repeatedly, he withdraws. If someone takes him for granted, he reduces access. If someone uses his goodwill, he cuts the connection. This firmness creates respect. Usefulness without strength turns you into a servant, and this is why nice guys suffer the most. They are helpful, but powerless. They give, but never protect. They fix everything, but never demand change. They don't set rules, don't establish conditions, don't stand up for themselves. They become the man everyone relies on, but no one respects. To escape this, you need two qualities: the ability to provide value and the willingness to defend yourself. This combination creates a powerful presence. You become a man others appreciate because you contribute, but also a man they fear losing because you cannot be exploited. A man who is useful, but never harmless. There is one trait that instantly elevates a man in any social environment. It has nothing to do with looks, money, status, or popularity. That trait is unpredictability. Don't confuse unpredictability with chaos. An unpredictable man isn't someone who acts randomly. He's someone whose reactions cannot be controlled or predicted. A man who chooses when to be warm, when to be distant, when to be calm, when to be silent, when to confront, when to walk away, when to agree, and when to ignore. This ability makes him powerful, not because he is dangerous in a destructive way, but because people cannot manipulate him. Most men are painfully predictable. You know exactly how they will react. Compliment them, they soften. Criticize them, they defend themselves. Pressure them, they give in. Guilt them, they apologize. Ask for a favor, they say yes. Act upset, they try to fix things. That's not kindness, that's programming. Predictability is a form of emotional slavery. If someone knows how you will react before you react, they own you. But an unpredictable man forces people to approach him with respect, caution, and sincerity, because nothing is guaranteed. Predictability makes you manipulable. If people can predict your reaction, they can use it against you. A woman can control a predictable man through disappointment, guilt, or drama, because she knows exactly which button to press. A boss can overload a predictable man because he knows the man will never refuse. Friends can take advantage of a predictable man because they know he will always be there. Family can dump responsibilities on him because he never pushes back. Predictability makes you exploitable. Unpredictability destroys other people's strategies. Whenever someone plans to use you, they rely on your predictable behavior. They assume you will react the same way you always have. But when you suddenly break the pattern, their strategy collapses. Examples. You used to always say yes. Now you say, not this time. You used to answer immediately. Now you respond when you choose. You used to explain yourself. Now you don't justify anything. You used to tolerate disrespect. Now you address it calmly. You used to try to please. Now you protect your time. You used to be available. Now you have priorities. This confuses people. It disarms them. It removes their ability to manipulate or control you. Your unpredictability forces them to treat you with respect. You don't owe anyone a consistent reaction. You are not required to react the same way every time. Different situations require different strategies. Sometimes silence is the best answer. Sometimes a direct statement is necessary. Sometimes you walk away without a word. Sometimes you pause before responding. Sometimes you say no. Sometimes you say yes. But only because you decided, not because someone pressured you. You don't live by emotional reflexes. You live by strategic choices. That alone puts you above most men. When you are unpredictable, your yes becomes valuable. If you always agree, your yes means nothing. But when your agreement is not guaranteed, when it depends on your standards, your time, your mood, your priorities, your yes becomes rare and meaningful. And what is rare is respected. People stop assuming they can get things from you. They start appreciating the moments when you choose to give. Unpredictability builds distance and therefore status. When people cannot read you, they approach you more carefully. They choose their words more wisely. They make requests more respectfully. They avoid crossing your boundaries. This naturally elevates your social status. People respect what they cannot control. People value what they cannot predict. People admire what they cannot easily access. Your unpredictability makes you mysterious, powerful, and authoritative. Your unpredictability must be rooted in principles. Unpredictability is not emotional chaos. It's flexibility inside a framework of values. You are not random. You are strategic. You don't change behavior out of mood swings. You change behavior based on your boundaries, your goals, your self-respect, your priorities, your long-term interests. Your unpredictability protects your power. Your principles protect your identity. The world respects men who cannot be controlled. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to dominate every situation. You only need to be someone who cannot be pushed, cannot be guilt-tripped, cannot be pressured, cannot be predicted. A man whose reaction is always chosen, never forced. A man who bends when it benefits him and stands firm when it matters. A man who is kind when he chooses and cold when necessary. A man who is impossible to manipulate and dangerous to underestimate. A man who writes his own script. Because here is the truth. The world doesn't respect predictable men. The world respects men who break expectations. Become that man.